Hi and good morning, 2025. Hi Liz, how are you?
I am well and Happy New Year to everyone. It's been a while.
It has, hasn't it? 2025. What an interesting journey up to bring us into 2025. From our couple of conversations, I think we have both experienced a really interesting end to 2024. So perhaps we'll dive into that first before we get started, and just see how we've shaped up in order to bring ourselves here. I'll let you start.
Yeah, look, I think my own journey leading into the end of 2024 was like many. I think that I was exhausted. There was still a lot of endings, a lot of things coming off. Probably going into a little bit of sense of fear because of the fatigue and the endings of many things. So, really having to focus and dig deep and just begin to rest, not deny what the body was after, but also still, gosh, still surrendering and releasing. There was so much coming up for me, probably a lot of collective stuff as well around fear and chaos. And look, I'll go into addiction, going back into old patterns because of uh, just, I really think just exhaustion and just going, how long is this going to go? But also knowing that it was a, a a lot was shifting and leaving. So, really, for me, we didn't connect for a little while because I really was trying to navigate all of those emotions that were coming up and the fatigue and really balancing it, trying to rest, but also aware that I was being drawn back into old patterns and things on another level, but with a sense of awareness and observation, but still dragging into it and having to really dig deep and going, what is this? And for me, a lot of it, what is collective and ancestral, as well as my own journey in this lifetime. So it was exhausting. So, really, just finding that space to go, yes, this is what it is, then resting, knowing that 2025 for me, with this, knowing that it was going to clear and start off with a different energy shift and a sense of excitement. So, really, just allowing the process without judgment. I really had to stop judging and going, I should be better than this. I should be further along than this. And absolutely just going, this is where I'm at. I'm human. I'm having this experience, accepting and knowing I'm no better than anyone else. I'm on this journey, but I'm just trying to stay that step ahead. So for me, it was probably a really deep dive, a little bit further, despite the journey I've been on, to really grasping the knowledge and the knowing of what this is about, what we're doing, and what I really needed to do coming forth. So, saying that, getting towards the end of the year, just even before the beginning of 2025, I really got this image of that darkness that I perceive as darkness. The sludge had been done, the tree trunk, the seeding, the work, the transformation is done. And all I can see for myself as this year now is this tree of life, this tree branches coming out, and just the growth and the mantra. I'm no longer playing small. I'm stepping in. It's okay. That it's one. And for me, that sense of excitement. And what are we into? It's the 9th of January, but those 9 days that hasn't eased. It's this sense of excitement and just this vision, the growth. It's time now. That's where I'm at.
Wow, I love that that's where you're at. And it's so funny that even though we didn't really connect over the last couple of months of 2024, it's really interesting to kind of see the parallels in what was happening. I knew the end of the year was coming up. I had completions too. I really wanted to get the project that I'm passionate about. I really wanted to get that moving, and so just going into my old patterns of get it done, get it done, get it done. Yeah, it doesn't matter how you get it done. Just make sure you get it done, plus doing whatever else I do as well. And yeah, it was so interesting because I came down in a big heap. At the beginning of November, I went to New Zealand to help run a retreat over there, which was just beautiful. I was really struck down by kind of a virus thing. It was really interesting. And normally I would not go and participate in a retreat that I was co-hosting if I felt I was unable to contribute. So huge lesson for me. My beautiful co-host Roisin just goes, no, you have to come, you don't need to do anything. And for me, that's horrifying, or that's the old me. It's horrifying. I can't go and do nothing. So, but anyway, I packed up my little bag, and it was only 3 days. So I flew over, and I actually couldn't. I literally, physically could not do anything. So it was great. And because it was a group of women who are, therapists, beautiful massage therapists, all sorts of things, I was gifted all of these beautiful treatments, which were amazing. And there was not one part of me that was going, oh, I should be doing that, I should be doing that. I did do the final meditation, which was on the third day. But other than that, just to sit back and receive was extraordinary. It was amazing. I loved it. So somewhere I think I was able to begin the breaking of a pattern where obviously somewhere along the line I developed a belief that I wasn't worthy of receiving unless I paid for it. So that was huge for me. It was really big. And so then I flew back, and it took me like a month, I think, to recover. Then we had booked a little cruise, which is again, we haven't been on a trip for ages and ages and ages. So we booked this little cruise. Off we went on this cruise, and still wasn't feeling really well. Came back and I was struck down by. I've just since heard. I was talking to the head of a accident and emergency last night. We went out for dinner, and he was saying that there is. He said, "Oh my God, there's a virus, and it's a super virus. This human does something, and it culminates in pneumonia." And I said, "Oh my God, there you go. That made sense. That made sense." So yeah, so really, it's only in the last 5 days that I suddenly feel as if I've emerged, like you, this beautiful this tree emerging. And it feels as if perhaps all of that time was spent, like I listened to you saying about the seeds, these seeds of a new life, and emerging, out of the ground as a tree of life. And that made me think, well, perhaps that's what was happening with me. Perhaps these new seeds were germinating, and I had to get rid of those old beliefs. And I'm very stubborn. So, yeah, it's like stubbornly holding on. Yeah, but what happens? And the great thing is, the interesting thing, I never used to think that I worried about what other people thought. But it wasn't until I was just thinking now, I was, yeah, but what happens if I just go out and just receive without doing anything, without without giving back, without yeah, what will people think? And that's just a latent kind of little thing floating around in the back. So yeah, so really interesting. So really interesting. But to actually, and I love it. I love what you said. It's like I'm no better than anybody else. And it's so true. And that's what I like about us, is that we know we're going through it. We know,
Oh,
and we're really sharing the journey that we're on, um, not trying to tell people what to do, but what to do, but sharing this incredible experience that we're the experiences that we're both going on. So yeah, so it was so nice to come out of that. And it's funny you were talking about the tree of life, because this project that I'm currently really passionately pursuing is all about trees and all about nature and children. So yeah, so I love that. I love that wherever we're talking, wherever we're connecting, we the thoughts and words seem to connect into each other and then flow on to something else. So yeah, yeah. So that's me. That's
yeah, it's interesting because I'll just touch on before we go on to what we're doing now, like, the receiving, what a theme, because as I was coming through that and got myself back into a semblance of alignment, a couple of people came forward to help me, in places to stay in that. And when you were saying that, the last one that's come through, which is somewhere I can stay in Launceston because I'm traveling at the moment, it filled my heart and opened it to receive. And she said, no, I'm paving this forward. It will come back, without expectation. But it was like I really struggled. Like I need to give you something. It's
yeah,
like I need to, it was that theme that was very much last year about being able to receive without expectation, without the need to do. So that was interesting. And the other thing that when you were just saying, the culmination of getting to the end of the year was it was the realization for me of coming through this and really acknowledging who I am, like beginning to really come to that point of who I am. And what was driving me was that with the realizations of letting this go and not playing small anymore, is if I'm not playing small anymore and I'm greater than this body, what does that truly look like without judgment, without looking outside of that? How can I do that? Letting go of the fear, the false sense of evidence appearing real. What does it look like for me really to sit in this and not play small anymore and keep going forward, realizing that I'm not here for a long time. I chose to come down. Don't know what it is, but like for me, it's that, okay, anything's possible. What does that look like and how can I do it? That realization, I think, is where I'm seeing this tree and this life going, okay, expand, expand, expand. No, we don't know what that looks like, but just do it anyway without expectation, without looking. That was the realization. I think all of that was happening last year in the release and going back into old patterns was all of a sudden coming, okay, this is the old, is this what you really want to continue to do? Or do you want to push the boundaries now and see really what it is, who you really are?
mm,
Like that is that sense of excitement. And I would love to stay on that trajectory at this moment to really investigate that and go, okay, all right, I'm nearly whatever age, no limit. We're not saying that, but okay, I've not wasted. I've got to hear now from all those beautiful experience of challenges.
yeah.
How can I push it now and come to those total realizations of this is who I truly am? And I'm really excited to explore that. That's that sense of like my whole body and energy. I'm sure my soul in there's going, finally, yay! But that yeah. Anyway, that was just a few thoughts to what you were saying that popped up. So
No, I love that. I love that. And, we can make, anytime, as we know, we can make decisions and we can follow through on those decisions. And I think, as you were saying, it's like, okay, I'm going to stay on this trajectory. And, I think last year, all of the years before, up until now, I mean, 2025 is an ending. It's a nine number, and nines are so indicative of, in numerology, of endings, but also of the seeds of new beginnings. So, and there's a the nine always also kind of depicts that. Oh, I don't know whether I want to give that up. I don't know whether I'm ready to let that go now. And that's very indicative of the nine personality. It's like, yeah, maybe not. Maybe I won't. But I think it comes down to a decision. It's like, okay, right. I've, and it's like we've both spent years doing the work. We've done so much work in our lives, and we're talking about becoming the observer and staying more and more as the observer in our lives. I think there comes a point, and I could be wrong. I think there comes a point in our level of evolution um, and growth where we just say, okay, that's it. That's it. The buck stops here. It's no longer, I've made the choice, I've made the decision, I will not go back there. I understand why I go back there into old patterns, and I've identified the patterns. I'm not going to do that anymore because there is so much that we are discovering about who we are and who we are growing into. I like to call it what we are. In the years before we moved back to the Gold Coast the first time, we lived in the country and we had a big old septic tank, and we used to go outside at night because we didn't have a television. We had music, but we'd go outside in the starry night and we would lie down on the septic tank and we would look at this vast, vast, uninhibited night sky. And to me, that was who we were. I could look at that, and that really helped in my growing and my learning about self-development. It was like, oh my God, that's the breadth and of the energy of what I am and who I am, this field of incredible potential, creative potential, all squeezed into this body that created this body. Okay. So really, I feel as if, perhaps, and I know I've talked to a lot of other people and they've been through similar struggles through this time, this last year, and the years leading up. So, perhaps we can look at it like that. Perhaps we can look at it, okay, we're growing into this hugeness, this huge creative potential that we are.
or remembering it. And I think with what you said, there is, I think, a certain amount of truth in that, because when you started talking about that and you're saying, well, I don't know, but it feels like this, I just have this energy and this emotion. I nearly burst into tears because it really does feel like that, maybe I have got to that point from that last finalization of 2024. We knew it was powerful. We know 2025 is powerful astrologically. that I've actually got to that point, and now I'm prepared to back myself and
Yeah.
really step in, let go of all the things, that the distractions that I thought of
Yeah.
what I needed once and for all, those beliefs, like all of them, like really tying the ends up, bringing it all together, and like, okay, I'm ready to really explore without the interference of what we've always known, to see how far that I truly am. I mean, we must be powerful because we've chosen to come back here. We've done lifetime after lifetime. So what have I gained in that time? And what did I say
Yeah.
that I was coming back to do? And what is it that I've been resisting stepping into through fear? I'm expecting of being seen, or fear of what I've done
Yeah.
previously. But
Yeah.
it's all of a sudden like, no, I'm willing now to do whatever it takes to see who I truly am.
Yes.
That's a gift to me. I
Yeah.
asked for it, I wanted it,
Mm.
and that's what it feels like. And that's this. I mean, you can probably see my excitement, but that's what it feels like. It's
Yeah.
like it's not negotiable anymore. Yes,
Yeah.
is there going to be challenges? There is, but there's this sense of excitement of, okay, it's time.
Yeah.
Look, we know it always happens when it's time, but is that also going along with the astrological? Like there's three major epochs or something, eras ending here, and one of them being the Kali Yuga and all the ones you're talking about. And they're saying March, April's going to be massive
Yeah.
because this is what is this, we think we're in control, but is that sense of excitement and where this enforced stopping needed to take place, this enforced going to ground to finish all
Yeah.
these things that we thought we'd done, to actually clear now, to go, okay,
Yeah.
let's go, let's explore,
Yes.
let's investigate.
Mm. Mm.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I get on a roll because I get so excited because it just feels different. This feels different.
It does feel different, doesn't it? And it feels, um, I feel as if we're embarking on this epic journey. I was trying to think of the word that stretches out epic, but I can't. So, but it feels to me as if there's no holes barred, and you know, and I think that we are representative of so many people who have lived their lives kind of under a little bit of a shadow of whether it's fear or whatever it is, it doesn't matter, but it's keeping ourselves small. And it's funny because I remember, oh gosh, what's her name? I can't remember. Um, no, I've forgotten her name now, so I won't talk about that. Um, Marianne Williamson and her beautiful poem, that talks about keeping yourself small. That's the greatest fear we have is remaining small. So yeah, yeah, let's get out there and do it. So what we
Yeah.
what we can do in the we spoke yesterday, and just quickly about perhaps what the theme of our podcasts were going to be. And we talked about those people who have made the leap into being more of who they are, sharing more of who they are, and it's time. It's time for me to do it. It's time for you to do it. And I think as we move along, we've talked about bringing people on who are doing it. And I think it's so inspirational. And, I've got, and I know both of us have got people from their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s that have all taken these extraordinary leaps. And they're people like you and me, people who have a dream and are stepping into it. I just love it. And the more I think about it, the more and more people actually pop into my head. Oh my God, they're doing it, and they're doing it, and they're doing it. It doesn't matter the outcome of what we do. What matters is that we do it. It's really, that to me is really exciting. So,
And I think the importance for me is like really, and I think I've said to you before about coming together is I know my journey over the last 4 years, which we've talked about, has been solely a lone one because I needed to do it. That's what I chose to come back without distraction. But for
yeah,
me, and I think I spoke to it, it's which is why I felt like we needed to reconnect and go, okay, let's get out there once again because we don't have to do it alone. And I know there's plenty of people shifting. I'm listening to people in their teens and 20s that are doing things differently. And for me, it is so important now to get the message out that we're all going through it, well, many of us, but you don't have to be alone. And
yeah,
for me, this is this community, unity, oneness. Whether we're on here, you're not alone. You only have to tap in to know that what you're going through, it's okay. You're not strange, you're not weird, and there's others. And hopefully, as we build our community and people go into the chat, you might be able to connect with people in your area because it's really, really important to stay on that vibration of where we're all at to know and to bring it forward and not to go back into it and keep going on your path to get out of the fear.
yeah,
That's just so important to me that we are all together and we're building a community. We're not alone. We have
yeah,
support.
yeah. And I think too that connection is, no matter if we are pursuing something on our own, knowing that if we link, all we need to do is put our arms out and we can energetically feel people hooking in, you know,
Yeah.
hooking in, creating that beautiful chain of connection. Um, and yeah, it's so true. We are not alone. And as you say, the more and more we reach out, the more and more connection we find. So, yeah, very, very exciting. So,
So, do you want to touch on what you're doing this year now? Have we got time to actually just go into? I'm not sure how long we've been on for.
no, I'm not actually either. So, but look, let's both just tap into quickly what our big picture is, and then perhaps in the next, I'm just changing all of but in the next two, we can then bring the focus into our specific pursuits. Um, so, yeah, last year I had a meeting with the state the state manager of homelessness and housing in Queensland, and she was saying how difficult it is to actually get a grip on the provision of homes and services for so many people. 166, so no, 1660, I think at that point there were people who were homeless. So, not just living in their cars, they were homeless. So then we started talking about the mental health figures, and that was scary. We started talking about youth suicide, which is the biggest killer of young people, young teenagers to 25 in our country. Youth suicide, self-harming, those who admit themselves into hospital for self-harming, the numbers are phenomenal.
They are.
So, during this conversation, it just started hitting me. Well, where's the hole? Where's the hole? We're here to nurture and nourish our young people until they become basically self-sufficient so that they can go out into the world. So, where are their holes in that parish, in that whatever it's called, in that whatever's holding us, the safety net? Where the hell are the holes? It really bothered me. So and I continued the conversation, and we talked about in 2000 and in 20, I think the recommendations came from studies that we needed early intervention, but there's no one in the higher echelons that are prepared to do something big and to blanket the whole, this whole area, which comes down to education, so that that people are always going to fall through the holes, but there's a damn big hole. So, I thought, okay, I will go and sit with this. And then I said to the manager, I said, well, can I come back to you? And here's me, one little pebble on this huge beach. What am I? And I've got no expertise in the area of education. I've got no expertise in really anything except knowing human behavior. And that's what I've done for the last 35 years, is help people to understand the false and faulty beliefs that they've developed in their childhood, that because they are unchallenged, because they are developed in childhood and they are unchallenged as we grow, they influence and impact every damn decision that we make towards our future. So I've always known that that's where I can be effective. So then I went and sat by a creek, and I was filled with this inspiration that said, and it felt as if Mother Earth was talking to me, and I heard the words, return the children to me. And so immediately I interpreted that as meaning bring the education of our children and the emotional and social education, bring it back to the basics and ground it in nature. So from then on, that was my mission. So that was in September of last year. So that's what I was doing up till November, going like the clappers. And I brought some people on board, some teachers, to start developing programs for children, emotional and social learning programs for young children, starting in early childhood. I think the only way now to do it is through education, the education system, because parents are so busy. They have such a desire to do the very best and offer the very best for their children. But the first thing that we all have to do is to provide food and shelter for our children. That's the major survival. And we've gone back to survival, I think, especially with the current economy. So, yeah, so that's what I am doing. And in February, we are launching the website. It's called NatureWise. All the social media, our website has got free resources for teachers, for children, for educators, for mental health workers, and for parents. So now what I'm doing is, I've also written books, so I'm looking to get those published and out there. But what now needs to be done is to have it expanded out into the world. And I think that's what's always held me back, like what's held back so many people of my generation. You know, it's my generation, perhaps a little bit younger than me as well, is keep yourself small. So, like you were saying, it's just boldly get it out there, no matter what. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that what we're struggling with personally. Just get it done. So that, in a nutshell, is what I'm doing. I would love to talk about it more, because I'm in, as I said, in February, I'm inviting people to a 2-hour webinar, and that's, concerned stakeholders, anyone of interest. I would love to have more people involved to climb on board. Our children are our most valuable assets, and they're our future's most valuable asset. And I believe that with the onslaught, and it is an onslaught of artificial intelligence, that is, it surrounds us in our world. Artificial intelligence, no matter if it's telephones, games, whatever it is, it's all digital, and now it is dominating our education system, and that's fine. That's fine. We aren't able to stop that, and I think that we can use it responsibly, and I think systems can use that responsibly. They have to. Have to, I hope, and keep a check on it. But because of that, we're needing to really burrow down into providing solid emotional and social learning so that children are able to critically assess and think, so that they are able to problem solve, so that they are able to develop empathy, and understanding, and are able to stay connected. And the number one way of staying connected is through nature. Anyway, that's me. So,
and it's beautiful, because we know that the kids that are being born, and the kids that are the 2000 kids and beyond, the 220, are coming in more awake. They
oh
don't
my
have the
God.
veil that we do. So
Yeah.
it's very, very important. And they have the ability that we keep them connected to self. I
Yeah.
mean, we're doing the work to come back to self, but they're coming in
Yes.
already. So with what you're doing is so important to keeping them connected, not dismissing and saying you can't do that, or that's silly that you're saying that, but to bringing them back and keeping them connected to Mother Earth, because they are the way shells. They're going to take this Gaia forward and return to its glory on a higher level. And it's an amazing
and so many
vision that you have, an awareness to be able to do that. And
and they're amazing. They're amazing. These children are so connected to nature and to animals, and I just love watching them. And
we have so much to learn from them.
Oh, they're incredible. So that's what I'm hoping to build on, because they want to do it.
They do.
It's very, very. I mean, there is such a there's such an addictive quality to devices, to the use of devices.
Oh, absolutely. But these kids are questioning. They're questioning as well. They don't want to. Why are we doing that? Why are you doing that? Can't we do this or whatever? So, yes, there is a section of the human that are like that, but there's many more that are questioning and going, that there is something more. And I love the fact that we can, because Mother Gaia is crying out for us all,
yes,
to reconnect. But beautiful. And so, how about when we come back next week, we'll go delve further into that, because I think it's a important message to get out what you're doing, and the fact that it's coming up to February where you're going to take it. And
Mm.
perhaps we can tag Nature's Wise website underneath so people can begin to click on it and
Yeah.
have a look at what you're doing as well as
Mm.
we go
Mm.
forward and it gets organised.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that would be fantastic. So I'm sorry, I've just got to, I kept on yabbering on there. Oh my goodness. Time goes, doesn't it? So, well, let's do that the next time. I'd love to talk about what you're doing. And so perhaps, our next call can be a deep dive into your your project and your beautiful work that you're doing.
Oh, absolutely. And interesting, it's still a similar theme, isn't it? I'm talking about the seeds, the tree coming back into it. We are all being called back to
Yeah.
Gaia, to Mother
Yes.
Earth, feet on the grass. And, for me, it's
Yeah.
very, very important to reconnect to that ground, to the grids, to the energy. Very similar, but again, we're just doing it in different ways, but it's still coming
Yeah.
back to ourselves and feet on the ground and reconnection. And it's beautiful.
So true. So true. Okay, so that's where we'll go our next two tarts on a journey. Um, it's been so lovely
And
to
what a
be here
journey.
and to get
It
back
is.
and just
Yeah.
find out where we are and our bold new walk into 2025. I love it.
Yes. No longer staying small.
Yes. Okay. So take care.
You
So
too.
nice. I'm
Beautiful.
just having a look and I'm